Hello, friend. Welcome to Science for Sleep. Whether you have returned here tonight, or you are discovering this quiet channel for the first time, this is a calm place to slow down, learn something soft and real, and let the day gently loosen its grip. Tonight, we are going to spend time with ravens, large black birds that seem somehow to watch the world back. A raven on a branch does not look like an ordinary bird resting for a moment. It can look more like a thought with feathers. Still, heavy, patient, as if it has noticed something long before anyone else has. The common raven is known by the scientific name Corvus corax. It belongs to the corvid family, the same family as crows, jays, magpies, and rooks. But a raven is not just a crow made a little larger. A common raven can be more than 2 feet long from beak to tail, with a wingspan that can reach close to 4 feet. That is wide enough for its shadow to pass over snow, grass, stone, or road, like a slow-moving shape. Its bill is thick and strong. Its throat feathers can look shaggy, almost like a dark ruffle under the chin. And when it flies overhead, its tail often forms a wedge shape, not the neat fan shape many people notice in crows. If you enjoy these quiet journeys, you're welcome to subscribe. And if it feels natural, to leave a comment sharing where you're listening from tonight. It helps others find their way to this calm corner of the world, one sleepy traveler at a time. A crow often gives a sharp caw that feels familiar around towns, fields, and parking lots. A raven's voice is different. It can make a deep croak, a hollow knock, a rough rattle, or a sound that seems to roll from the back of the throat. In a quiet place, that voice can carry through cold air in a way that feels older than the landscape around it. You might hear it near a cliff, across a forest edge, above a frozen field, or from the top of a tall pine. And for a moment, the sound can make the whole place feel watched. Ravens are also heavier than crows. A large raven can weigh several times more than an American crow. This changes how it moves. A crow often flaps in a steady, busy way. A raven can soar. It can circle on rising air. It can tilt one wing down and one wing up, as if slowly testing the sky. Some ravens roll in flight. Some dive. Some have even been seen flying upside down for short stretches, not because they need to, but because their bodies are built for control in open air. That alone begins to change the feeling of the animal. A small bird may feel quick, a crow may feel clever, but a raven often feels deliberate. It may sit alone on a bare branch, while the wind moves the smaller twigs around it. It may turn its head slightly, using one dark eye to study the ground below. Bird eyes are placed on the sides of the head, so the raven often tilts its head to look closely at something with one eye at a time. That small movement can feel strangely personal. It is only biology, only vision, only a bird gathering information. And yet, to a human observer, it can feel as though the raven is weighing the moment. For thousands of years, people have noticed this. Ravens appear in stories from the far north, from Europe, from Asia, from indigenous cultures across North America, and from many places where people lived close to forests, animals, weather, and death. They were often linked with messages, omens, memory, or hidden knowledge. But those stories did not appear from nothing. They grew around a real bird with a real body, a real voice, and real habits that made people pause. A raven arrives where food appears. It watches, it waits, it remembers. It learns who is safe, who is dangerous, where meals can be found, and when another animal might create an opportunity. Its dark feathers are not just symbols. They are part of a living animal that survives by reading the world with care. So tonight, the raven is not only a shadow in myth. It is a large corvid with a powerful bill, a deep voice, a wide set of wings, and a way of moving through the world that feels calm, alert, and strangely thoughtful. And as we begin with this black shape on a branch, quiet against the evening sky, one question starts to open softly. What is happening inside an animal that seems to notice so much? That quiet shape becomes clearer when it is placed beside a crow. At first glance, the two birds can seem almost the same. Both are black. Both belong to the corvid family. Both are intelligent, watchful, and able to live near humans. But when a raven stands near an American crow, the difference is not small. The raven is built on a larger scale. A common raven can reach about 24 to 27 inches long. An American crow is usually closer to 16 to 21 inches. The raven's wings can stretch close to 4 feet across, while a crow's wings are usually closer to 3 feet. That extra size changes the whole feeling of the bird. A crow often looks quick and busy. It hops through grass. It moves along roadsides. It gathers in groups on telephone wires, rooftops, school fields, and parking lots. Crows have learned human places very well. They watch traffic. They search lawns. They open bags, inspect trash bins, and remember where people leave food behind. Ravens can live near people too, especially near farms, roads, dumps, towns, and campgrounds. But their older image belongs more strongly to rougher places. A raven feels at home on a cliff ledge, above a pine forest, across a desert canyon, over a mountain pass, on Arctic tundra where the ground stays frozen for much of the year, or along a cold coastline where wind pushes hard against dark rock. This is part of why ravens feel different. Crows often feel like clever neighbors. Ravens feel like something that came down from the open land beyond the edge of town. Even their tails tell a different story. When a crow flies overhead, its tail often spreads like a fan. When a raven passes above, the tail often narrows into a wedge or diamond shape. That shape is one of the easiest ways to tell them apart in the sky. The raven's wings also look longer and narrower. Its wing beats are slower and deeper. A crow usually flaps more steadily, almost like it is working from one perch to the next. A raven can rise into the air and hold itself there. It can glide. It can circle. It can lean into warm air rising from sunlit rock, or into wind climbing the side of a ridge. This kind of rising air is called a thermal when it comes from warm ground. Birds use it like an invisible elevator. A raven can spread its wings and save energy as the air lifts it upward. In that moment, it does not look rushed. It looks patient, as if the sky is not something it crosses, but something it understands. And then, sometimes, the calm breaks into play. Ravens are known for aerial acrobatics. They can roll sideways in the air. They can dive suddenly and pull up before reaching the ground. They can tumble with another raven, locking briefly into the same moving space. They can even fly upside down for surprising distances. Not just a quick flip, not just a mistake in the wind. A controlled movement, held for long enough that it seems almost impossible for such a heavy bird. This kind of flight may serve more than one purpose. It can be part of courtship, where one raven displays strength and skill to another. It can be part of play, especially in younger birds that test what their bodies can do. It can be part of territorial life, where movement itself becomes a message. But it also tells us something simple and useful. The raven is not only larger than a crow, it is shaped for a different relationship with space. A crow can belong to a sidewalk, a yard, a street light, or a row of houses. A raven belongs just as easily to a high ridge where the wind never really stops. Its body is built to cover distance, to search wide areas, to move between scattered sources of food, to ride air over places where meals may be rare, hidden, or temporary. So the difference between crow and raven is not only size. It is a difference in mood, movement, and landscape. One bird often feels close to daily human life. The other feels tied to cliffs, forests, tundra, and open country. And a body made for those places must solve a harder world. A world where food is spread out, where weather changes quickly, where the ground may be snow, sand, stone, or frozen grass, where survival depends on more than simply being strong enough to fly. The raven's shape already hints at that life. Its wings, its tail, its voice, and its slower movement all point toward a bird made for distance and difficult places. A raven made for distance is also made for uncertainty. It does not need one perfect habitat. It does not need one steady food source. It can live in places that seem almost too different to belong to the same bird. Common ravens are found across much of the northern hemisphere. They live in North America, Europe, Asia, and parts of North Africa. They can survive in Alaska, where winter darkness stretches long and snow covers the ground. They can live in the deserts of the American Southwest, where heat rises from red stone and water may be hidden in narrow washes. They can nest on cliffs in the Rocky Mountains. They can move through pine forests, coastal islands, open tundra, farmland, and the edges of towns. Few birds carry that much range inside one species. A small bird that feeds only on nectar must follow flowers. A bird that eats only fish must stay near water. A raven is different. It is flexible enough to treat the whole landscape as a changing puzzle. Its food can be almost anything it can find: open, steal, store, or scavenge. Carrion is one of its most important food sources. Carrion means the body of a dead animal. In winter, this might be a deer, an elk, a seal, a sheep, or a small mammal left by a predator or by cold weather. A raven's strong bill can tear at soft tissue, but large hides can be difficult to open alone. That is one reason ravens often benefit from wolves, bears, coyotes, eagles, or even humans, because those animals may open a carcass first. The raven watches the larger world for chances, not just for food itself, but for the animals that create access to food. Its diet can also include insects, berries, seeds, grains, eggs, nestlings, lizards, rodents, shellfish, human garbage, and scraps from campsites or roadsides. Near coasts, ravens may search tide lines where dead fish, crabs, or seabird eggs can appear. In forests, they may inspect nests, fallen fruit, insects under bark, or animals killed by weather. On farms, they may feed near livestock areas or grain fields. In towns, they may learn the pattern of dumpsters, parking lots, roadkill, and garbage collection. This does not mean the raven lives carelessly. It means it lives by attention. A bird that can eat many things still has to know where those things might appear. Food in a harsh landscape is not evenly spread. A carcass may feed ravens for days, then vanish. A nest full of eggs may be available for only a short season. A berry patch may ripen for a few weeks and then be stripped bare. A landfill may be busy at certain hours and quiet at others. A road may be dangerous, but it may also bring animals struck by cars. The raven's world is full of brief openings, and brief openings reward a brain that explores. A raven may fly long distances while searching. It may circle high above the ground, looking for movement, other scavengers, shining objects, disturbed snow, or gatherings of birds. A group of magpies or gulls in one place can be a sign that food is present. A wolf pack moving with focus can mean a hunt may happen. A bald eagle standing on the ground may mark a carcass. A human campsite may hold scraps after people leave. None of these signs is food by itself, but each one can point toward food. This is where the raven becomes more than a dark bird in the sky. Its survival depends on making connections. Where did food appear before? Which valley held a carcass last winter? Which pair of ravens defends this stretch of forest? Which animal is dangerous? Which human place is useful? Which object can be opened? Which hidden meal can be saved for later? For a raven, the landscape is not empty space. It is a map of chances. Some chances are old, some are new, some are risky. Some only matter if the bird remembers them after the moment has passed. That is why the raven's harsh world begins to lead us inward. A bird that lives on scattered food cannot live only in the present. It has to carry places with it. It has to remember what the land has given before. And when food appears suddenly, too much to eat at once, the raven's world becomes even more interesting. Because a meal that cannot be finished now may still matter tomorrow. When food appears in a raven's world, it may not stay available for long. A carcass can be claimed by wolves. A garbage bin can be closed. A nest can be emptied. A patch of berries can be stripped by other birds before the next cold morning. So a raven does something that changes the meaning of a meal. It hides what it cannot eat right away. This is called caching. To cache food means to store it somewhere for later. A raven may take a piece of meat, a seed, an egg, or another small food item, and tuck it away in soil, snow, leaves, grass, bark, or a crack between stones. Then, later, it may return. not by accident, not by wandering until it finds the smell again, but by remembering the place. This is a quiet but powerful kind of memory. Imagine a raven at the edge of a winter field. There is snow under its feet. A dark line of spruce trees stands nearby. The raven pulls a small piece from a larger food source, carries it away, and presses it into a shallow patch near a root. Then it walks a little farther and hides another piece near a stone. Then another near a fallen branch. Each hidden meal becomes a point on an invisible map. The raven has to remember more than food is somewhere nearby. It has to remember the exact relationship between objects. The root, the stone, the branch, the slope of the ground, the open space between the trees, the direction from the carcass, the look of the place after wind, snow, rain, or other animals have changed it. This kind of memory matters because the world does not hold still. Snow melts, leaves blow away, grass grows taller. Other birds walk over the same ground. A hiding place that looked clear in the morning may look different by sunset. Still, ravens can return to stored food after time has passed. And when the food is valuable, returning matters. A hidden piece of meat in winter can mean energy during a cold night. A stored food item can mean one less risky search later. A cache is not only food, it is a small promise made to the future. The raven's brain has to connect the present place with a later need. In birds, one important area involved in spatial memory is called the hippocampus. This is a brain region that helps animals remember locations and move through space. Food-storing birds often depend on this ability. A chickadee may hide thousands of seeds in autumn. A jay may remember many buried acorns. A raven's caching is different in feeling because the food is often more contested. Meat at a carcass draws attention. Other ravens may be nearby. Magpies may be watching. Crows may gather. Eagles may wait. Coyotes or foxes may return. A hidden meal is useful only if it stays hidden. So the raven's memory cannot be only a map of places. It also becomes a map of individuals. Who was near the food? Who was watching? Who has stolen before? Who is bold? Who is young? Who is dominant? Who is safe to ignore? A raven may behave differently when another raven is close. It may carry food farther away. It may hide it faster. It may wait. It may return to a cache and move the food again. That second hiding is called recaching. It means the bird takes food from one hidden place and hides it somewhere else. This can happen when the first place no longer feels safe. The raven is not simply remembering a location. It is remembering a situation. A place plus a watcher. A meal plus a risk. A hidden thing plus another animal that may know too much. This is where raven memory begins to feel deeper than storage. A squirrel may bury a nut. A bird may hide a seed. But a raven caching food near other ravens enters a world of quiet tension. Every glance can matter. Every pause can matter. The direction of a head turn can matter. The raven must carry the land inside itself, but it must also carry a social map of those who share the land. And once food has been hidden under snow, leaves, or soil, the most important detail may not be where it is. it may be who saw it disappear. A hidden meal seems simple from the outside. A raven finds more food than it can eat. It takes a piece away. It pushes it under snow, leaves, moss, gravel, or loose soil. Then it covers the place and walks on. But for a raven, that small act turns one moment into two. There is the present moment, when the food is found. And there is the later moment, when the food may be needed again. A carcass makes this especially important. When a deer, elk, sheep, seal, or rabbit dies in the open, it can bring many animals to the same place. Ravens may arrive first because they travel widely and notice signs from above, but they are rarely alone for long. A carcass can draw magpies, crows, gulls, eagles, foxes, coyotes, wolves, bears, insects, and other ravens. The food may be abundant, but it is also unstable. It can be eaten quickly. It can freeze hard. It can be dragged away. It can be taken over by larger animals. So the raven uses a quiet strategy. It carries small pieces away from the crowd. One piece may be hidden near a stump. Another may be tucked under a clump of grass. Another may be pressed beneath a thin crust of snow. This spreads the value of the carcass across the landscape. Instead of one large meal in one dangerous place, the raven creates several smaller meals in different places. Each cache becomes a future resource, a private reserve, a small hidden answer to hunger that has not arrived yet. But a cache is only useful if it remains secret. And ravens live among other ravens. That changes everything. A hidden piece of food is not like a seed buried alone in a quiet garden. It is a secret made in public. Other ravens may stand nearby pretending to search. They may watch from a branch. They may look away and still keep track. They may follow at a distance as the cacher walks or flies away with food. A raven that sees another bird hide food can return later and steal it. This is called pilfering. Pilfering simply means taking stored food from another animal's cache. In a raven's world, pilfering is not rare. It is part of the system. The same bird that protects its own hidden meals may steal from another when it gets the chance. So caching becomes more than memory. It becomes a social contest. The raven has to choose where to hide the food, but also how to hide it. Close to the carcass may be faster, but easier for others to find. Farther away may be safer, but it costs more energy and time. Open ground may give a clear view of approaching rivals, but it may also expose the hiding place. Dense brush may hide the cache, but it may also hide a watcher. Snow can cover food well, but tracks may point toward it. Loose leaves can disguise a meal, but they can be disturbed easily. Every surface has a benefit and a risk. And while the raven is making these choices, other birds may be making their own. This gives raven caching a strange, almost quiet tension. A bird lowers its head. A piece of food disappears. A few dark feathers shift in the wind. Somewhere nearby, another raven may have seen enough. The act lasts only seconds, but the result may matter hours later. Sometimes A raven may return to a cache and move it. This recaching can happen if the first hiding place feels unsafe. It may take the food from under one patch of snow and carry it to another place farther away. This second hiding does not erase the risk completely. It only changes who may know where the food is. A raven does not live in a simple world of food and hunger. It lives in a world of food, hunger, watchers, rivals, memory, distance, timing, and chance. A cache is not just a storage place. It is a small secret placed inside a living landscape. And the trouble with a secret is that it changes the moment someone else might know it. A secret hidden in the ground is never only about the ground. It also belongs to the eyes that saw it happen. For a raven, hiding food near another raven is not the same as hiding food alone. The same snow, the same stone, the same strip of grass beside a fallen branch. But if another bird was watching, the place changes. It becomes marked by attention. Ravens behave as though this matters. When they cache food in the presence of other ravens, they may become more careful. They may hide the food farther away. They may wait longer before caching. They may cover the spot more closely. They may return later and move the food to a new place. These choices make sense in a world where stored food can be stolen. But the detail that makes ravens so interesting is not only that they protect caches, it is that they seem to protect them differently, depending on who had a chance to see. In controlled studies, ravens have been placed in situations where another raven could watch them hide food. Sometimes the watcher had a clear view. Sometimes the view was blocked by a barrier, and the caching raven behaved differently depending on that difference. A barrier is a simple object, a wall, a screen, a blocked opening. But to the raven, it can change what another bird knows. If the other raven could not see the hiding place, the cache may be safer. If the other raven had a clear line of sight, the cache may be at risk. A line of sight simply means an open path between the eye and the thing being watched. If a raven can see through that open path, it may gather information. If the path is blocked, the same raven may be nearby, but not informed. That is a small difference in space, but it creates a large difference in behavior. Picture a raven carrying a piece of meat across a patch of snow. Another raven stands behind a low barrier. The first bird lowers its head, presses the food into the snow, and covers it. If the watching bird had a clear view, the cacher may not trust the place. It may return. It may lift the food out. It may carry it away. It may hide it again, where the first watcher did not have the same chance to observe. This is not random movement. It is action shaped by what another animal may have seen. That does not mean the raven thinks in words. It does not mean it explains the situation to itself the way a human would. But it does suggest that ravens pay attention to access. Who was present? Who could see? Who could not see? Which barrier stood between the eye and the food? This is why caching can feel less like a simple habit and more like a quiet contest over information. The food itself is only one part of the scene. The hidden knowledge around the food is just as important. A raven may know where its own cache is. Another raven may know too. if it watched closely enough. A third raven nearby may know nothing at all. So one small piece of food can create different private worlds inside different birds. One bird remembers the exact spot. One bird remembers seeing it hidden. One bird only saw movement and missed the important detail. The landscape is shared, but the information is not. That is what makes raven behavior feel so layered. A stone is not only a stone, it might be a marker. A branch is not only a branch, it might be a cover. A watcher is not only another bird, it might be a future thief. When a raven changes its behavior because of these details, its intelligence becomes harder to reduce to instinct alone. Instinct can guide a bird to store food. Memory can guide it back. But adjusting the hiding place, because another raven could see, it brings in something more delicate. The raven is not just reading the land. It is reading the situation around the land. The open view, the blocked view, the rival nearby, the risk that has not happened yet, but may happen later. And in that quiet space between snow, food, and watching eyes, memory begins to turn into strategy. Strategy becomes even more interesting when the raven is not innocent. A raven that hides food may also steal food. The same bird that covers a piece of meat beneath snow may later watch another raven do the same thing. It may remember the angle of the other bird's body, the place where the beak touched the ground, the small pause before the cacher walked away. Then, when the first bird is gone, the watcher may return to that spot and dig. This creates a strange mirror inside raven life. To protect a cache well, it helps to understand how caches are stolen. And ravens that have stolen food from others often behave more carefully when they hide their own. They may act as if their own experience as thieves has taught them what another thief might try. This is not the same as a simple fear of all other birds. It is more specific than that. Ravens can change their behavior depending on the situation and the individual nearby. An individual simply means one particular raven, not just any raven in general. One bird may be bold, another may be lower ranking, another may be known from past contact, another may defend food strongly, another may sneak in quietly when no one is looking. In social animals, these differences matter. A raven does not live among identical black shapes. It lives among recognizable rivals, partners, strangers, young birds, adults, territory holders, and possible thieves. At a food source, the scene can look calm from a distance. A few ravens stand near a carcass. One hops closer. One pulls at a loose piece of tissue. One lifts its head and listens. Another walks away with food in its bill. But inside that slow movement, there may be a careful reading of rank and risk. Dominant birds may control the best feeding spots. Younger birds may wait at the edge. Some birds may try to grab food and leave quickly. Others may rely on the crowd, because a group can make it harder for one strong pair to defend everything. In this kind of world, stealing is not only a bad event that sometimes happens. It is part of the normal pressure of life. And because ravens steal, they seem to guard against stealing with unusual care. A raven that has often raided caches may be more likely to protect its own cache from being raided. It may move food after being watched. It may hide food behind cover. It may avoid caching in full view. It may wait until a rival looks away. It may carry the food farther from the busy feeding site. These are small actions, but they all point in the same direction. The raven behaves as though food does not only have a location, it has a history. Who handled it? Who saw it? Who wanted it? Who might return? A hidden meal becomes part of a social memory. This is why raven caching can feel almost like a quiet game, though it is serious for the animal. A game has rules. A cache has risks. A rival has habits. A raven that has played both sides, hiding and stealing, may become better at both. There is a soft but important difference between reacting and anticipating. Reacting means something has already happened. A rival approaches, so the raven defends. A bird steals, so the raven chases. Anticipating means the raven acts before the theft occurs. It protects the food because theft is possible. It changes the hiding place because the watcher may remember. It behaves differently because the future has begun to matter. That is what makes this behavior feel so layered. The raven is not only responding to hunger, it is responding to a possible future shaped by another raven's memory. A thief knows the value of a careless hiding place. A thief knows that a short glance can be enough. A thief knows that a bird walking away from a cache may return later, and that waiting can be rewarded. So when that thief becomes the cacher, it carries those lessons with it. In the stillness of a winter field, a raven pressing food under snow may look like a simple animal following instinct. But around it is a world of past thefts, watched movements, old rivalries, and careful choices. The bird hides the food. Then it looks up. Because somewhere nearby, another raven may understand the same trick. A raven that understands theft does not have to wait for theft to happen. It can begin protecting the food while the food is still in its bill. The scene may be very quiet. A pale field, a few dark spruce trees, snow packed hard by wind, a raven standing with a small piece of meat held sideways in its beak. Nearby, another raven watches from a low branch or from the ground. Nothing dramatic needs to happen. No chase, no loud call, no fight. Only a pause, a turn of the head, a few careful steps away from the open space. That pause can matter. When ravens are watched, they may delay caching. They may walk farther than they would if they were alone. They may move behind a rock, a stump, or a low rise in the ground. They may hide food, then later return and move it again. That second hiding is recaching. It is a simple act, but it carries a careful purpose. The first hiding place may have been seen. The second one may be safer. Snow makes this easy to picture. A raven can press food into a shallow hole and cover it with white crystals. But snow also records movement. Footprints can lead away from the feeding place. A small disturbed patch can stand out against a smooth surface. A watcher may remember where the raven lowered its head. So the same material that hides food can also leave clues. Soil works the same way. Loose dirt can cover a cache. but fresh scratches may show where the beak worked. Leaves can hide a piece of food under brown shapes already scattered across the ground. But leaves can also shift, exposing a dark spot beneath. Bark can hold food in a crack. Moss can cover it. Grass can fold over it. Each hiding place solves one problem while creating another. The raven is not only choosing a place, it is choosing what the place will look like afterward. Other corvids show similar kinds of careful caching. Corvids are the bird family that includes ravens, crows, jays, magpies, and rooks. Some jays, for example, have been studied hiding food while another bird watches. When they know they have been observed, they may move the food later. This does not mean every corvid behaves exactly like a raven, but it shows that this family of birds often treats hidden food as part of a social problem. A nut, seed, or scrap of meat is not only food. It is information. And information can be protected, hidden, or misdirected. A raven may seem to make a false move. It may walk toward one place, pause, then continue. It may lower its head near the ground without leaving food there. It may carry the food away after appearing ready to cache it. It may hide food in one place only to move it when the watcher is gone. These actions are hard to read from the outside. A human observer should be careful not to turn every movement into a plot. Birds do many things for simple reasons. They shift position. They check the ground. They respond to sound, wind, smell, or hunger. But the repeated pattern is what matters. When being watched changes the way a raven hides food, the behavior begins to look like more than accident. The raven's body becomes part of the secret. Its head can block the view. Its wings can turn slightly. Its feet can carry it behind cover. Its timing can change. The whole act of caching becomes a small performance shaped by another animal's eyes. And this is where the raven begins to feel especially strange. It does not need language to create uncertainty. It does not need hands to hide a thing. It does not need a human kind of plan to make the scene harder for a rival to read. It only needs a sharp memory, a flexible body, and a world where other ravens are clever enough to steal. In the snow, the raven presses food into the white surface. Then it lifts its head. The watching bird may have seen too much, or perhaps it has seen exactly what the cacher wanted it to see. The snow, the food, and the watcher all lead toward a very careful problem. A raven may not only respond to another bird's body, it may respond to what that bird could have seen. That is a much stranger idea. Seeing is invisible from the outside. You can watch another animal's eyes. You can see where its head turns. You can notice whether it is close or far away. But you cannot directly see what it knows. You can only judge what it might have learned from where it was standing. This is why one raven experiment became so interesting. Ravens were placed in a situation where food could be hidden. Nearby, there was another space where a rival raven could be present. Between the two areas was a small opening, a peephole. When the peephole was open, a raven in the other space could see through it. When the peephole was closed, the same bird could be nearby, but could not see the cache. The important part was not just whether another raven was present. It was whether that raven had visual access. Visual access means the ability to see something from where you are. A window gives visual access. A wall blocks it. A crack in a fence gives a narrow view. A closed door does not. For humans, this feels simple. If someone is on the other side of a wall, they may hear you, but they cannot see what you are holding. If there is a hole in the wall, the situation changes. Now the other person might know more. The fascinating part is that ravens behaved as though that difference mattered. When the peephole was open and the raven heard another raven nearby, it guarded its cache more carefully. It acted as if the other bird might have seen the hidden food. When the peephole was closed, the same kind of sound did not create the same response. The bird nearby was still there. The sounds were still there. But the chance of seeing was different. This suggests something deeper than simple fear. The raven was not only reacting to noise, it seemed to care whether the other bird had the chance to look through the opening. The test becomes even more interesting because ravens had their own experience with the peephole. They had been able to look through it themselves. They knew from their own bodies that an open hole could give a view into the other space. So when they later heard another raven on the other side, they may have used that earlier experience. They may have treated the other bird as if it could use the same opening in the same way. That does not mean the raven was thinking like a human. It does not mean it had words for seeing, knowing, or believing. It does not mean the raven sat there forming a clear picture of another raven's thoughts. A calm reading is more careful than that. The raven may have learned that an open peephole creates risk. It may have connected sound, space, and past experience. It may have understood that another raven on the far side could gain information through the same opening it had used before. Even this careful version is remarkable. Many animals respond to what is directly in front of them. Food, movement, danger, sound. A raven in this kind of situation seems to respond to a hidden relation between things. The food is here. The other raven is there. The hole is open. The other raven may know. That is a very quiet chain of information. Nothing in the scene is dramatic. No bright color. No sudden chase. No loud alarm. Just a bird with black feathers, a covered piece of food, a small opening in a barrier, and the sound of another raven nearby. Yet inside that plain scene, the raven's behavior suggests a world divided into what is seen and unseen, known and unknown, safe and unsafe, private and no longer private. This is where raven intelligence feels especially hard to place. It is not the intelligence of books, tools, or speech. It is the intelligence of watching, of remembering, of connecting one viewpoint to another. A raven may live in a world where every hidden meal has two lives: the food itself, and the knowledge of where the food is. Once those two things separate, the raven's world becomes deeper. A cache can be buried in the snow, but the fact of the cache may still be carried in another bird's head. And that is the part a raven must learn to guard. A raven guarding a cache is already dealing with time. It hides food now because hunger may come later. It protects the place now because another bird may steal from it later. But raven planning does not seem to stop with food hidden under snow. In careful experiments, ravens have shown that they can prepare for future situations, even when the task does not look like natural caching. That matters because caching is part of a raven's normal life. A bird that hides food might have a built-in reason to remember where food is. But choosing something now because it will help later in a new kind of task is different. It shows a wider kind of flexibility. In one study, ravens were given objects that were not food. Some objects were useful tools, others were not. The useful tool could open a puzzle box later, but not right away. The raven had to choose the right object, hold on to it through a delay, and then use it when the box became available. That is a simple sentence, but a difficult act. The food was not present at the time of choosing. The box was not always available at the time of choosing. The reward belonged to a future moment. The raven had to treat the tool as valuable before it could use it. A tool, in this sense, is just an object used to get something done. For a human, that might be a key, a spoon, or a small hook. For a raven in a test, it might be a stone, a stick, or another object that solves the problem the researchers have built. The important thing is that the object does not matter by itself. It matters because of what it can do later. Ravens have also been tested with tokens. A token is an object that can be traded for something else. It has no food value on its own. It is only useful because later it can be exchanged for a reward. That kind of task is strange for an animal. A piece of food makes sense immediately. A token is more abstract. It asks the bird to choose something plain now because it will become useful in a different situation later. In one well-known set of experiments, ravens prepared for future events after delays that reached up to 17 hours. 17 hours is a long time in the life of a bird. It can stretch from one part of a day into the next. A raven might choose the useful object, pass through the long delay, and still use it for the later reward. This does not mean the raven is planning its life like a person with a calendar. It does not mean it is imagining tomorrow in words. But it does mean the bird can act beyond the pull of the immediate moment. It can give value to something that only becomes important later. That is the quiet center of planning. The future changes the present. This ability has been compared with planning in great apes. Great apes, such as chimpanzees, bonobos, orangutans, and gorillas, are mammals with large brains and close evolutionary ties to humans. Ravens are birds. Their bodies are different. Their brains are built differently. Their wings, beaks, feet, and feathers place them on a very different path through evolution. Yet in some planning tasks, ravens have performed in ways that invite comparison with apes. That is not because a raven is secretly an ape in feathers. It is because evolution can sometimes arrive at similar abilities through separate routes. A forest animal with hands and a black bird with wings may both face problems where waiting matters, choosing matters, remembering matters, using an object at the right time matters. For the raven, this kind of planning fits into a larger life. A bird that stores food must deal with later hunger. A bird that watches other ravens must deal with later theft. A bird that follows predators must wait for the right opening. A bird that uses a tool or token must carry the meaning of that object forward. So the raven begins to feel as if it is not trapped inside the instant. The branch, the snow, the food, the rival, the tool, the hidden place, and the later reward all become connected across time. The raven's intelligence no longer belongs only to hunger. It belongs to delay, to patience, to the quiet space between wanting something and waiting for the moment when it can finally be reached. A raven hiding food is doing something very ordinary for a raven. It is taking what the world gives now and saving part of it for later. But inside that simple act is a quiet shape of time. The food is real in the present. The hunger belongs to the future. And the raven has to connect them. A piece of meat pressed under snow is not useful while it is hidden. It becomes useful later when the raven returns to it. So the hiding place becomes a bridge between two moments. The bird standing there now, and the same bird, hours or days later, searching the ground with memory. This is why caching is more than storage. A pantry in a house is easy to understand because the shelves stay still. A jar remains where it was placed. A door keeps the food inside. But a raven's pantry may be spread across a hillside. One cache may sit under moss near a spruce root. Another may be buried in snow near a fence post. Another may be tucked into a crack in dry soil beside a road. There are no labels, no walls, no locks, only memory, landmarks, and the raven's ability to return. A landmark is an object or feature that helps mark a place. For a raven, that might be a stone, a stump, a branch, a patch of grass, a slope, or the edge of a tree line. The raven uses these details to rebuild the place later. And because the world changes, the bird must remember more than a flat picture. Snow may fall overnight. Wind may smooth tracks. Rain may darken the ground. A fox may pass through. A human may walk nearby. The cache is hidden inside a living scene. Still, ravens return. This already gives them a relationship with the future. But the planning experiments make the picture wider. Ravens have been tested in tasks where the reward did not involve ordinary caching. They were not simply hiding food and coming back to it. They had to choose an object that would become useful later. A tool that could open a box. A token that could be traded. An item that had no value in the present moment, but mattered after a delay. This is different from grabbing food because it smells good. It is different from pecking at something bright or moving away from danger. The raven must treat a plain object as important because of a future event. A token is a good example. To the eye, a token may look like nothing special. A small object, a shape, a thing that cannot be eaten. But if it can be exchanged later for food, it carries future value. Humans do this constantly with coins, keys, tickets, passwords, and written notes. The object itself is not the reward. It points toward the reward. For a raven to choose something like that, hold its value through time, and use it later suggests a flexible way of dealing with delay. Not human planning, not a calendar, not a spoken thought, but still a real connection between now and later. This separates ravens from animals that only respond to immediate cues. An immediate cue is something present right now. The smell of food, the sight of movement, the sound of danger. Many animals are very good at responding to what is directly in front of them. That kind of ability is important. It keeps them alive. But ravens seem able to work with things that are not fully present yet. The future meal, the later box, the rival that may return, the cash that may be stolen, the useful object that will matter after the waiting is done. A raven's world begins to feel stretched. Behind it are remembered places. Around it are watching eyes, sounds, branches, stones, tracks, and air currents. Ahead of it are possible rewards, possible thieves, possible hunger, and possible openings. It lives in the branch it is standing on, but also in the place where food was hidden yesterday, and in the place where food may be needed tomorrow. That is what makes the raven feel so strange and so calm at the same time. It is not rushing through the world as if each moment disappears completely. It carries pieces of time with it, a past cache, a present watcher, a future need. And when an animal can hold those pieces together, the world becomes more than a set of reactions. It becomes something to test, revisit, wait for, and quietly understand. A creature that can do that may also begin to explore when no meal is waiting at all. When survival is difficult, play can seem almost surprising. A raven has to find food. It has to remember where food was hidden. It has to watch rivals. It has to avoid danger. It has to survive weather, hunger, and long open distances. And yet, ravens play. They do things that do not seem to bring food right away. They pick up sticks. They tug at loose bark. They drop objects from branches and fly after them. They roll in the air with other ravens. They slide on snow-covered roofs, banks, or smooth, icy slopes. They hang upside down from branches by their feet. They pull at the tails of wolves, dogs, and other animals, sometimes in ways that look more curious than afraid. These actions can seem funny from the outside. A large black bird picks up a stick, lifts into the air, drops it, turns, dives, and catches it again. No meal appears. No cache is protected. No rival is defeated. But play is rarely meaningless in intelligent animals. It can be a way of testing the world while the stakes are low. Young ravens are especially playful. A young raven has not yet mastered every part of adult life. It still has to learn how objects move, how hard surfaces feel, how other ravens respond, and what its own body can do in air. A stick dropped from a branch falls in a certain way. A feather drifts differently. A bone may bounce. A piece of bark may flip, spin, or land flat. By dropping, chasing, grabbing, and carrying objects, the raven is gathering small lessons about weight, speed, texture, and motion. These are simple facts, but they matter. A bird that understands objects may be better at opening food, handling scraps, moving things aside, or solving problems later. Play can also train the body. A raven flying after a falling stick must adjust speed quickly. It must judge distance. It must fold and open its wings at the right moment. It must use its feet or bill with timing. The same control that looks playful in the air may later help the bird land on a narrow ledge, turn in strong wind, dodge a larger bird, or grab food before another animal reaches it. Play can become practice without feeling like practice. Young mammals do this too. Wolf pups wrestle before they hunt. Young foxes pounce on leaves before they catch mice. Kittens chase moving objects before they become careful hunters. Ravens are not mammals, but the pattern feels familiar. A restless young animal tests the body before the body is needed for serious work. Raven play can also be social. Two young ravens may chase each other in the air. One may carry an object while another follows. They may tug, dodge, retreat, return, and begin again. This kind of play can teach limits. How close is too close? How hard is too hard? Which bird gives way? Which bird keeps coming back? Among social animals, play can help build relationships before conflict becomes dangerous. A real fight can injure a bird. A playful chase can teach many of the same signals without the same cost. There is also curiosity in raven play. A raven may approach something new and inspect it from different angles. It may peck it, lift it, turn it, hide it, drop it, or carry it away. New objects can be risky, especially in places shaped by humans. A plastic lid, a shiny wrapper, a bit of rope, or a piece of metal may be strange. But a raven that explores carefully can learn what is useful, what is dangerous, and what can be ignored. This curiosity fits the larger raven life. A bird that eats many foods and lives in many places benefits from testing. It cannot rely on one fixed routine. A desert canyon is not the same as a northern forest. A coastline is not the same as a farm road. A carcass is not the same as a campsite. The raven's world changes, so the raven keeps learning. That is why play feels like another form of intelligence. Memory shows what the raven carries from the past. Planning shows how it reaches toward the future. Play shows what it does with the present when hunger does not fully control the moment. A raven dropping a stick in the air may look like it is wasting time. But inside that small dark shape is a body learning gravity, a brain testing cause and effect, and a young animal practicing how to move through a world that will not always be gentle. The serious raven and the playful raven are not separate. They are the same bird. A creature that remembers hidden food may also chase a falling stick simply to see what happens. A raven that drops a stick is learning the pull of gravity. A raven that rolls through the air is learning something even larger. It is learning the sky. From the ground, flight can look simple. A bird opens its wings. The wings push against air. The body rises. But the air is never perfectly still. It moves over hills. It curls around trees. It lifts along cliffs. It sinks over shaded ground. It breaks into rough, invisible patterns when wind passes over rock, forest, buildings, or mountain ridges. A raven has to feel those patterns with its whole body. Its wings are not stiff boards. They are living surfaces made of bone, muscle, and feathers. The long flight feathers at the wingtips can spread like fingers, letting air pass between them in controlled ways. The tail can open, narrow, twist, and act like a rudder. A rudder is a steering surface, like the flat part at the back of a boat that helps turn it. In a raven, the wedge-shaped tail helps guide the body through turns, glides, and sudden changes in direction. This is part of why raven flight feels different from crow flight. A crow often moves with steady flaps from tree to wire to rooftop. It can glide, of course. It can turn quickly. But a raven often seems more at home in open air. It may flap a few times, then hold its wings wide. It may circle slowly above a canyon. It may rise along a cliff face where wind is being pushed upward by stone. It may lean into the air as if resting on something no one else can see. Then, without warning, it may roll. A raven can turn its body sideways, continue into a full rotation, and right itself again. It may dive steeply, dropping with its wings partly folded, then open them and lift before reaching the trees. It may tumble with another raven, the two dark bodies crossing and separating against a pale sky. Some ravens have been seen flying upside down for short stretches, holding the strange position with surprising control. These movements are not only beautiful, they may carry meaning. In courtship, flight can become a display. Courtship is the behavior animals use when forming or strengthening a breeding relationship. A raven that rolls, dives, and controls the air may be showing strength, skill, and health. It is one thing to sit still on a branch. It is another to prove control in wind. A body that can dive without losing balance, roll without falling, and land with precision may be a body worth choosing. Flight can also matter in territorial life. A territory is an area an animal defends. A pair of adult ravens may defend nesting space, food sources, or a stretch of land from other ravens. A strong flight display can say, without words, that this place is occupied. The message is written in motion. A turn above the trees, a dive near the edge of a ridge, a deep call carried through cold air. These movements may also remain playful. The same behavior can have more than one purpose. A young raven rolling in the wind may be practicing. A paired raven may be displaying. Two ravens, tumbling together, may be testing their skill, their timing, and their bond. The border between play and purpose is not always sharp. In intelligent animals, the same action can teach, signal, strengthen, and delight all at once. That is what makes raven acrobatics feel so alive. The bird is not only traveling from one place to another, it is using the air as a space for learning and communication. A human watching from below may see a black shape turn against a grey sky. But the raven is feeling pressure, lift, drag, balance, speed, and the position of another bird nearby. Lift is the upward force that helps keep a wing in the air. Drag is the force that pushes against movement and slows the body down. A raven's flight depends on balancing both. Too much speed, and the turn becomes risky. Too little lift, and the body drops. The raven adjusts moment by moment. A wingtip opens, the tail tilts, the body rolls. The bird catches the air again. So the raven is not only a thinker on the ground, guarding caches and watching rivals. It is also a skilled body moving through a shifting sky. Its intelligence is not locked inside the head. It lives in the wings, the tail, the timing, and the feeling of wind. And when two ravens move together above a ridge, turning and diving through the same invisible currents, intelligence begins to look social as well as physical. The air becomes a place where skill can be seen, where bonds can be tested, and where one raven can answer another without touching the ground. Above the ridge, two ravens may turn through the same wind. One rolls, the other follows. One glides lower, the other rises slightly, then circles back. From below, it may look like two dark shapes sharing the sky. But for ravens, pair life can be one of the most important parts of survival. Adult ravens are often seen alone or in pairs. This is one clear way they can feel different from crows. Crows often gather in noisy groups, especially near towns, farms, roads, and winter roosts. Ravens can gather too, especially around rich food sources. But a mature raven pair often moves through the world together. Two birds, one territory, one long shared routine of calls, flights, feeding, warning, and nesting. A pair bond is the connection between two animals that stay together as mates. In ravens, that bond can last through the year, not only during the nesting season. The birds may remain near one another in winter. They may fly together. They may defend the same space. They may return to the same nesting area when spring comes back. A breeding pair usually holds a territory. A territory is an area the pair tries to protect from other ravens. It may include nesting cliffs, tall trees, feeding areas, open ground, or a mix of forest and field. The exact size can change depending on food and landscape. In a rich place, a pair may not need as much space. In a harsher place where food is spread thinly across hills, snow, rock, or desert, a pair may need a much larger area. Territory matters because raising young takes energy. A raven nest is not a small, delicate cup hidden deep in grass. It is often a large structure made of sticks, lined with softer material like fur, grass, bark strips, moss, or wool. Ravens may nest on cliffs, in tall trees, on power towers, on ledges, or on human structures when the place feels safe enough. A female may lay several eggs, often in the range of 3 to 7. The eggs must be kept warm. The young must be fed. Food has to be found again and again. A defended territory gives the pair a better chance of controlling the space around that work. But territory is not only about pushing others away. It is also about coordination. Two ravens that stay together need to read each other. They need to know when to call, when to fly, when to approach danger, when to stay quiet, when to defend, when to leave. This is a different use of intelligence from theft or cache protection. It is not about outsmarting a rival. It is about moving with another bird over time. Raven pair behavior can include preening. Preening means cleaning and arranging feathers with the bill. A raven can preen its own feathers, but paired birds may also preen each other. This is called allopreening. It can help clean hard-to-reach feathers around the head and neck. It can also reduce tension and strengthen the bond between the birds. A pair may sit close together on a branch. One bird may gently touch the other with its bill. They may make quiet calls that sound different from the loud croaks used across open land. They may bow, fluff throat feathers, or move in small matched rhythms. These gestures are not random decoration. They help maintain a relationship that can last through storms, nesting seasons, food shortages, and territorial pressure. A raven that lives with another raven has to remember more than places and hidden food. It has to remember a partner's behavior, what a certain call means, how close is comfortable, how the other bird reacts to a threat, where the pair has nested before, which neighboring ravens are dangerous, which feeding places are worth revisiting. The private world of a pair is built from repeated details. A branch used often, a cliff ledge returned to in spring, a call answered from across a valley, a flight path taken together above the same trees. This makes raven intelligence feel less cold than deception alone. The same animal that can guard a secret cache can also maintain a bond. The same bird that may mislead a rival may sit quietly beside its mate in winter light. A raven is not only a watcher, a thief, or a planner. It is also a partner. And once two ravens defend a territory together, the world outside that bond begins to press against them. Other ravens may gather nearby. Young birds may test the edges. Food may appear in one place and draw everyone toward it. The private life of the pair begins to meet the crowded life of the group. The private world of a pair can change very quickly when a carcass appears. A deer lies at the edge of a forest. An elk falls in a snowy valley. A seal washes onto a cold northern beach. A sheep dies on open pasture. For a raven, a large dead animal is not only food, it is an event. The smell spreads, tracks gather, wings appear in the sky. A carcass can hold more food than one raven can eat in a day. It may hold more food than one pair can easily defend. That is when the quiet life of two birds can turn into a crowded scene of calls, movement, rank, and risk. Adult raven pairs often defend territories. If a carcass lies inside their space, they may try to keep other ravens away. The pair may call loudly. They may chase intruders. They may rush forward with open bills and raise feathers. They may stand near the best feeding place and push younger birds to the edges. But a large carcass creates a problem. It is too valuable to ignore, and sometimes too large to guard completely. A single territorial pair may be strong, but a crowd changes the balance. Young ravens, especially those without territories of their own, may gather in groups. These younger birds are sometimes called non-breeders. That means they are not yet holding a nesting territory or raising young. They may travel more loosely. They may search widely. They may depend more on finding chances wherever they appear. For them, a carcass defended by an adult pair is difficult, but not impossible. If enough ravens arrive, the defending pair can be overwhelmed. One bird moves in from the side. Another distracts from the front. A third grabs a piece and lifts away. The scene becomes restless, but not random. Each bird is reading the others. Who is bold enough to approach? Who gives way? Who keeps its place? Who has food in its bill? Who might be chased? Who can sneak in while the loudest conflict happens somewhere else? Some observations suggest that young ravens may call other ravens to large food sources. At first, this seems strange. Why share food with competitors? But if a carcass is guarded by territorial adults, bringing more ravens can help break that control. A lone young raven may be driven off. A crowd of young ravens may get access. Calling others can turn a private discovery into a group opportunity. The sound itself becomes part of the strategy. A deep raven call over snow or open grass may not only announce presence, it may help gather bodies, and bodies change power. At a carcass, many parts of raven life meet at once. Hunger is there. Memory is there. A bird may remember this valley, this road, this wolf trail, this farm edge, or this place where food has appeared before. Rank is there too. Rank means the social position of one animal compared with another. A dominant raven may feed first. A lower-ranking bird may wait, circle, or take smaller chances. Courage is there. A raven has to approach a food source that may also attract eagles, foxes, coyotes, wolves, bears, dogs, or humans. The food is useful, but the place is not always safe. Theft is there as well. A raven may take food from the carcass, carry it away, and hide it. Another may watch that movement. A cache made near a carcass may be discovered quickly because so many eyes are present. The whole landscape around the carcass becomes marked by small secrets. A strip of meat under snow. A piece hidden behind a rock. A bird pretending not to watch. A bird waiting until the cacher leaves. Even sound matters. The air may fill with croaks, rattles, wing beats, and the soft tearing sounds of feeding. A raven's call can travel across open country, especially in cold air, where sound often feels sharper and clearer. More calls may bring more ravens. More ravens may create more confusion. More confusion may allow one hungry bird to feed. The carcass is no longer just a dead animal. It becomes a temporary social world, a place where rules shift by the minute. A pair may defend. A crowd may push. A young bird may call. A bolder bird may steal. A careful bird may cache. A watchful bird may remember. This is why the raven's intelligence cannot stay inside one quiet head, or even inside one bonded pair. At a carcass, intelligence spreads across the group. Each raven is part of the pressure surrounding every other raven. The bird has to read not only land, food, and memory, but a moving crowd of black wings and sharp eyes. And beyond that crowd, larger animals may be moving through the same winter scene, opening the carcass, leaving tracks, and shaping the raven's chance to feed. Beyond the crowded carcass, there is often a larger story moving through the trees. A wolf pack crosses a valley. Their paws press into snow. Their noses follow scent. Their ears turn toward elk, deer, or bison moving somewhere ahead. High above, or waiting from a distant ridge, ravens may notice. Ravens and wolves have been linked in wilderness scenes for a very long time. The connection is practical before it is poetic. A raven can find a carcass. It can tear at soft tissue. It can pull small pieces free. But the hide of a large animal is difficult to open. The skin of an elk or bison is thick. In winter, cold can stiffen it even more. A wolf, with powerful jaws and sharp teeth, can open what a raven cannot easily open alone. Once the hide is broken, the raven's chance begins. This is why large predators matter so much to scavengers. A scavenger is an animal that feeds on dead animals or leftovers from a kill. Ravens are skilled scavengers. So are magpies, bald eagles, golden eagles, coyotes, foxes, bears, beetles, and many other animals. But ravens are especially good at finding opportunity early. They travel widely. They watch other animals. They call. They remember places where death has brought food before. In Yellowstone, the connection between wolves and ravens became easier to study after grey wolves were reintroduced in 1995 and 1996. Before that, wolves had been absent from Yellowstone for decades. When they returned, they brought back more than a predator. They brought back a pattern of carcasses across the landscape. Elk killed by wolves became winter food for many species. Ravens were often among the most noticeable visitors. Dark birds stood on snow near red openings in the carcass. They hopped close, then back. They pulled small pieces away. They called from trees while wolves fed. They waited at the edge until a chance appeared. Sometimes ravens seem so closely tied to wolves that people imagine they simply follow them. And sometimes they may. A moving wolf pack is worth watching. A pack can create food. A raven that notices wolves traveling with focus may gain a chance at a future meal. But the relationship may be more complex than following moment by moment. Tracking work has suggested that ravens may remember places where wolves often kill or feed. They may revisit areas that have produced carcasses before. A valley, a drainage, a ridgeline, a frozen meadow where elk gather in winter, a place where wolf paths, prey movement, and open visibility meet. This makes the raven feel less like a shadow trailing one predator and more like a bird carrying a map of wilderness chances. It may know that certain places are worth checking, not because food is there now, but because food has been there before, and because the same forces may bring food there again. Elk move through familiar routes. Snow depth affects where animals spend energy. Wolves hunt where prey can be found and caught. Ravens can learn the shape of that pattern. A wolf kill is not only meat, it is information about the land, where prey travel, where predators succeed, where open ground allows a raven to see from far away, where trees provide safe waiting places, where other scavengers gather. The raven reads these details quietly. Its body is small compared with a wolf. Its bill is weak compared with a wolf's jaws. Yet its advantage is different. It can fly above the valley. It can arrive from miles away. It can see movement over snow and open grass. It can hear calls. It can remember. The wolf changes the body of the landscape by opening food. The raven changes its own future by remembering where that opening happened. Together, they show how intelligence can belong to a whole place, not only to one animal alone. The wolf runs through the snow. The raven circles above. The elk herd shifts in the distance. The wind moves over the ridge. And somewhere in that wide, cold pattern, the raven is not just looking for a meal. It is placing the wilderness into memory. The wilderness map inside a raven is not silent. It has a voice. A crow's voice is familiar to many people. Sharp, bright, often repeated in a clear caw, caw, caw from a tree, a roof, or a wire. A raven sounds different. Its voice is deeper, rougher, more hollow. A common raven can make a low croak that seems to come from somewhere far back in the throat. It can also make knocks, rattles, clicks, gurgles, bell-like notes, and strange wooden sounds that do not seem bird-like at first. Some calls are short and hard. Some stretch out like a rough door hinge moving slowly in cold air. Some sound almost like a stone being tapped against another stone. Birds make sound with an organ called the syrinx. The syrinx sits near the place where the windpipe divides toward the lungs. In songbirds, this organ can create very complex sounds. Ravens are songbirds, even though their voices do not sound like the soft music people often imagine when they hear that word. They belong to a group called passerines, the perching birds, and this same broad group includes sparrows, finches, warblers, jays, crows, and many others. The raven is a songbird with a voice that seems built for distance. In open country, a deep raven call can travel across cliffs, valleys, frozen fields, and dark spruce forest. Low sounds often carry well through wide spaces. They do not feel as thin or quick as higher calls. A raven calling from a cliff ledge can sound as if it is coming from the rock itself. The call may bounce from stone walls. It may drift through pine branches. It may pass over snow, where the air feels still, and every sound seems clearer. Cold air can sometimes hold sound close to the ground, especially during calm weather when layers of air settle over the land. A raven's croak in that kind of place can feel larger than the bird that made it. The sound helps ravens live. A call can keep contact between paired birds. It can signal alarm. It can announce a food source. It can mark presence in a territory. It can help young ravens gather near a carcass. It can carry information across distance without the bird needing to land beside another raven. A raven hidden in the trees can still be part of the social scene through sound. The voice is another way the bird reaches through space. Not with wings this time, with air moving from the body into the world. Ravens can also copy sounds. Some captive ravens have learned to imitate human speech, animal noises, and mechanical sounds. Wild ravens may copy certain calls or noises in their environment too, though their natural voice is already rich enough without imitation. This ability comes from the flexible control of the syrinx and the learning power of the corvid brain. A raven does not simply produce one fixed sound for every situation. Its voice can change with context. A soft call near a mate is not the same as a loud territorial call across a valley. A food call in a busy scene is not the same as a quiet sound made while perched beside another bird. Even without understanding raven language in the human sense, the variety tells us that the voice is doing more than filling the air. It is part of the raven's social life. And for humans, that voice has always mattered. A bright songbird may make a forest feel gentle. A loon across a lake may make twilight feel lonely. A raven calling from a bare branch can make a place feel ancient, watchful, and slightly strange. That feeling comes partly from biology. The large body, the black feathers, the heavy bill, the deep voice, the places where ravens often appear. Cliffs, winter fields, carcasses, old forests, lonely roads, mountain wind. When people heard that sound in hard places, they gave it meaning. The raven did not need to become a symbol all at once. It only had to keep appearing where life felt close to its edges. Near hunters, near wolves, near battlefields, near death, near weather, near silence. A dark bird with a deep voice does not stay only an animal in human memory. Slowly, it becomes a message. And once a real voice begins to feel like a message, science and story start to overlap. When a raven's voice rises from a lonely place, it is easy to understand why people once heard more than a bird. They heard warning, memory, mystery, a message from somewhere just beyond ordinary life. The raven did not become an omen only because it was black. It became an omen because of where people saw it. Ravens appear around carcasses. They gather near animals left by wolves, bears, eagles, weather, age, or accident. They may wait in trees while larger animals feed. They may walk across snow toward a body lying still in a field. They may circle above open ground where something has changed. To early humans, this mattered. Before modern roads, phones, maps, and weather alerts, people watched animals carefully. A gathering of ravens could mean food nearby. It could mean predators nearby. It could mean death nearby. It could mean that something hidden in the landscape had already happened. In hunting cultures, ravens were part of the same world as wolves, elk, deer, arrows, tracks, and winter hunger. A raven call might lead a hunter toward a carcass. A cluster of dark birds above a ridge might reveal where animals had gathered, or where a kill had taken place. That made ravens useful, but it also made them unsettling. They seemed to know before people knew. They seemed to arrive where life had crossed a boundary. Battlefields strengthened this reputation. Across Europe, Asia, and many other parts of the world, ravens were seen after battles because open ground and human conflict often left food for scavengers. The old stories did not need to describe every detail. The image was enough. Black birds on spears, shields, fields, or ruined places. A rough voice in the air after human noise had faded. For people who live close to death, ravens seemed to move between worlds. They were living animals, but they appeared where life had ended. That is why ravens became linked with prophecy, war, memory, and the unknown in so many traditions. In Norse mythology, the god Odin was accompanied by two ravens named Hugin and Munin. Their names are often translated as thought and memory. Each day, they flew through the world and returned to tell Odin what they had seen. That story fits the real bird strangely well. Ravens travel widely. They notice details. They remember places. They watch other animals. A mythic raven carrying news across the world does not feel random, when the real raven already seems like an expert observer. In some indigenous stories from the Pacific Northwest, Raven is a powerful figure connected with creation, transformation, trickery, and bringing light. These stories are not all the same, and they belong to distinct cultures with their own meanings. But again, the choice of raven makes sense. A bird that is clever, dark, loud, bold, and difficult to predict becomes a natural figure for change. Their feathers add to this feeling. Raven feathers are not plain black when seen closely. In sunlight, they can show blue, purple, green, or oily violet shine. This effect is called iridescence. It happens when the feather surface bends and reflects light in different ways. So the raven can look like darkness from far away, then reveal hidden color when the angle changes. That alone feels symbolic, even before anyone turns it into a story. The voice adds another layer. A deep croak from a raven does not sound like a robin singing at dawn or a sparrow calling from a hedge. It feels rougher, older, closer to stone, wind, and empty distance. The behavior matters too. Ravens watch, they wait, they tilt their heads, they approach carefully. They steal, hide, call, play, and return. To a human observer, this can feel like intention. And sometimes it is intention, in a bird's own way. Not prophecy, not magic, not a human message hidden inside feathers, but real attention, real memory, real strategy. This is where myth and science meet gently. Myth does not always come from imagination alone. Often, it begins when people notice a real pattern in nature and give it emotional shape. Ravens appeared where food, danger, weather, hunting, and death gathered together. They sounded different from other birds. They looked different from other birds. They behaved as if they understood more than they should. So people made them into omens. But the living raven is even more interesting than the symbol. Because behind the old stories is not an empty shadow. There is a brain, a body, a memory, a voice, and a way of reading the world that made the stories possible in the first place. Behind the omen is a living brain. Not a human brain, not an ape brain, not even a mammal brain. A raven is a bird, and bird brains are built on a different plan from mammal brains. For a long time, people misunderstood this. They looked at bird brains and saw that they did not have the same layered outer structure found in mammals. In humans, that outer folded layer is called the cerebral cortex. It is the part often linked with speech, planning, memory, movement, and conscious thought. Because birds do not have a cortex arranged in the same way, people once assumed bird intelligence must be simple. That assumption was wrong. Bird brains are not weaker versions of mammal brains. They are different solutions to some of the same problems. A raven does not need a human-shaped brain to remember a cache. It does not need fingers to move objects. It does not need spoken language to call, warn, bond, and mislead. It does not need a primate body to solve a social problem. The corvid family shows this very clearly. Corvids include ravens, crows, jays, magpies, and rooks. Many of them are known for strong memory, flexible behavior, tool use, social learning, and problem solving. Their brains contain regions that do work similar to what the front part of a mammal brain does. One important bird brain area is called the nidopallium caudalaterale. That name sounds heavy, but the idea can be simple. It is a part of the bird brain involved in making choices, holding information, and guiding flexible behavior. It is not the same structure as the human prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is the front part of the human brain that helps with planning, self-control, and decision-making. But even though the structures are different, they can help solve similar problems. This is called convergent evolution. Convergent evolution means unrelated animals develop similar abilities because they face similar challenges. A bat and a bird both fly, but their wings evolve separately. A dolphin and a shark both have smooth bodies for moving through water, but one is a mammal and the other is a fish. In the same way, a raven and an ape can both show advanced planning, even though their brains and bodies come from very different branches of life. This makes the raven especially useful for understanding intelligence. It shows that intelligence is not one narrow road. It is not only hands, not only speech, not only a large mammal body. It can grow in feathers. It can work through a beak. It can move through wings. It can live inside a bird that weighs only a few pounds, yet remembers places across a wide landscape. Bird brains are also very efficient. Many birds pack nerve cells tightly into small spaces. A nerve cell, or neuron, is one of the tiny cells that carry signals in the brain and nervous system. More neurons do not automatically mean a smarter animal, but dense brain wiring can allow complex processing inside a small head. This matters for flight. A flying animal cannot carry a heavy head without cost. Weight matters in the air, so a raven's brain has to do difficult work while staying light enough for wings to lift. That makes its intelligence feel even more striking. It solves problems without the size and weight of a primate skull. And it solves them without the tools humans usually connect with thought. A raven cannot write a note to remember where food is hidden. It cannot point with a finger and explain what another raven saw. It cannot draw a map of wolf paths, carcasses, cliffs, and trees. But it can still remember. It can still choose. It can still wait. It can still watch who has seen what. It can still play with objects, guard a cache, follow a predator, and remain close to a partner through the year. The old myth made ravens seem mysterious because they looked like messengers from somewhere beyond ordinary life. The science makes them mysterious in a quieter way. It shows that a very different kind of brain can still build a rich inner world. Not human, not empty, not simple, just different. And if a raven can remember, plan, deceive, play, and bond with a brain shaped by wings and wild places, then intelligence itself becomes wider than we usually imagine. It no longer looks like a ladder with humans at the top. It begins to look like a branching forest, with many paths through the dark. A branching forest of intelligence makes room for a raven. It makes room for a creature that does not hold a pencil, does not build a fire, does not speak in sentences, does not write a memory down before it fades. Humans often picture intelligence through human tools: a hand turning a key, a person opening a book, a map spread across a table, a voice explaining a plan, a written note saved for later. These things feel natural to us because our bodies are shaped for them. Human hands have opposable thumbs, which means the thumb can press against the fingers. That one feature helps humans grip, pinch, twist, throw, carve, sew, write, and build. A raven has no hands. It has wings. It has feet made for perching, walking, gripping branches, and holding small objects against the ground. It has a beak, strong enough to tear food, lift objects, tug, pry, tap, and explore. It has eyes placed on the sides of its head, helping it watch a wide field around its body. It has wings that let it move across miles of land in a way no walking animal can. So raven intelligence does not look like human intelligence, because the raven does not live in a human body. Its thought is shaped by feathers, air, hunger, sound, distance, and watching. A raven solves problems through movement. It walks around an object. It tilts its head. It probes with its bill. It pulls from one angle, then another. It carries food away from a crowd. It hides it under snow. It returns when the moment is safer. It calls from a tree. It waits for a wolf to open a carcass. It follows another raven's movement without seeming to follow too closely. It flies over a valley and reads the land from above. This is practical intelligence. Not intelligence made for classrooms. Not intelligence made for speeches. Intelligence made for a life where every meal may be uncertain. A raven's beak becomes a tool of investigation. It can lift bark to look underneath. It can pull at a knot. It can test whether something is soft, hard, edible, loose, sharp, or useless. The feet can pin an object while the beak works. The wings can take the bird away from danger in seconds. The voice can reach another raven across open ground. The memory can hold the location of a cache after the snow has changed. The whole body participates. This matters because intelligence is easy to miss when it does not look like ours. A raven may not seem busy when it is perched quietly above a road, but it may be watching traffic. A raven may learn that cars leave roadkill. It may learn which stretches of road are useful. It may learn when human places become quiet enough to approach. It may learn that a campground has food scraps after people leave, or that a farm road becomes active at certain hours. None of this requires words. It requires attention. It requires remembering patterns. It requires linking place, time, risk, and reward. Raven intelligence is also social. A bird has to know more than where food is. It has to know who else is near it. A mate, a rival, a dominant adult, a young bird looking for a chance, a watcher that may steal, a crowd that may make feeding possible. A raven may be silent, but it is not alone inside the scene. Every movement happens among other movements. Every cache can become known by another bird. Every call can change who arrives. Every feeding place can become a small negotiation between hunger and danger. Compared with human intelligence, this can feel quieter. There is no written record, no spoken explanation, no clear moment when the raven announces what it has understood. The evidence is in behavior. The bird waits. The bird moves the cache. The bird chooses the useful object. The bird returns to a place where wolves have fed before. The bird flies beside its partner. The bird plays with a stick as if testing gravity itself. This is intelligence fitted to the raven's world. A world of cliffs, fields, forests, carcasses, wind, snow, branches, rivals, and hidden food. It does not need to look human to be real. It only needs to work. And when the raven lifts from a branch and moves across the evening sky, it carries that quiet awareness with it. Not in hands, not in speech, but in wings, memory, timing, and attention. The kind of awareness a person might miss at first, unless they slow down long enough to notice the blackbird noticing everything. The blackbird noticing everything changes the feeling of the landscape. A raven on a branch is not only a dark shape against the sky. It is not only a sound in the trees. It is not only a symbol left over from old stories. It is a living animal with hunger, memory, caution, habits, relationships, and expectation. A raven perched on a cliff may look still, but stillness is not emptiness. Its eyes may be tracking movement below, a fox crossing open ground, a pair of ravens calling from a farther ridge, a line of cars moving along a road, a group of magpies gathering near something hidden from view. The bird may be resting, but it is also receiving the world. Its body is quiet while its attention remains awake. This is why ravens can make a place feel less empty. A winter field may seem silent until a raven lands on a fence post. A mountain road may seem lonely until one black shape glides across it. A forest edge may seem still until a deep croak moves through the branches. The raven does not need to fill the space with motion. Its presence alone suggests that something is being observed, and that feeling comes from real behavior. Ravens link many parts of the natural world. They connect predators to scavengers. A wolf opens a carcass, and ravens may arrive. A bear leaves scraps, and ravens may feed after it moves away. An eagle stands on the ground, and a raven may watch from a safe distance. They connect winter to memory. A cache hidden in snow may be found later when food is scarce. They connect cliffs to nesting. A high ledge can protect eggs and young from many ground predators. They connect forest to sound. A croak can carry between trees before the bird itself is seen. They connect human settlements to wild intelligence. A raven may learn the pattern of roads, garbage sites, farms, fishing docks, campgrounds, and parking areas. A place shaped by people becomes part of its map. Not because the raven belongs to humans, but because it notices what humans leave behind. The raven is eerie, but not because it is empty or supernatural. It is eerie because it pays attention. It remembers. It waits. It changes behavior when watched. It hides food where others may not find it. It follows signs that people might miss. It seems to understand that the world is full of clues. A disturbed patch of snow, a wolf trail, a flock gathering low, a sound from beyond the trees, a person leaving a campsite, a rival raven turning its head at the wrong moment. Each detail may matter, and when an animal treats details as meaningful, the whole landscape begins to feel alive. The raven reminds us that awareness is not limited to human life. Other creatures are also moving through the same morning, the same wind, the same cold, the same light. They have their own concerns, their own stored memories, their own relationships, their own risks. A raven's world is not our world, but it crosses ours again and again, at the roadside, above the forest, near the cliff, beside the Carcass, over the farm field, along the edge of town where wild land and human land blur together. It may see us as one more feature of the landscape, useful sometimes, dangerous sometimes, worth remembering. That thought is quiet, but it changes the bird. The raven becomes less like an omen and more like a neighbor from another kind of intelligence. Not close, not tame, not fully knowable, but present. A dark, watchful life moving beside our own. So when a raven sits against the evening sky, the mystery is not only in the black feathers or the deep voice. It is in how much the bird may be carrying. The place where food was hidden, the sound of its mate, the shape of arrival, the memory of wolves, the path back to a safe branch, the possibility of tomorrow. All of it gathered inside one still body, waiting quietly above the ground. All of this returns to the same dark shape where we began. A raven on a branch. A raven above snow. A raven circling slowly over a cliff, its wings held wide against the evening air. At first, it may have seemed like only a black bird, large, quiet, a little mysterious. But now that shape carries more detail. The raven is a corvid, a member of the same intelligent bird family as crows, jays, magpies, and rooks. Yet it is not simply a larger crow. Its body is heavier, its bill is thicker, its throat feathers are shaggier, its tail is often wedge-shaped in flight. Its voice is deeper, with croaks, knocks, rattles, and rough sounds that can carry across cliffs, forests, mountains, frozen fields, and open country. It can live in many places. Northern forests, desert canyons, rocky coasts, Arctic tundra, farm edges, roadsides, campgrounds, high mountains. Human places and wild places both become part of its map. That wide range makes sense because the raven does not depend on one narrow kind of food. It can eat carrion, eggs, insects, seeds, berries, small animals, scraps, garbage, and stored food. It can search from the air. It can watch other animals. It can notice where wolves, bears, coyotes, eagles, and humans may create openings. A carcass may bring hunger, noise, risk, rank, theft, and opportunity into one place. A wolf may open food that the raven could not easily open alone. A young raven may call others to a rich food source, helping turn numbers into access. The raven's life is not still, even when the bird is still. It remembers. It hides extra food in caches, placing pieces under snow, soil, moss, leaves, bark, roots, grass, or stone. It returns to those places later. It may remember landmarks, distances, rivals, old feeding sites, and the individuals that might steal. It plans, not in a human way, not with clocks or written lists, but in the quiet animal way of giving value to what will matter later. A hidden piece of food is useful because hunger may return. A tool or token can matter because it may bring a future reward. A safe branch, a known valley, a familiar wolf trail, or a past cache can all become part of tomorrow before tomorrow arrives. And it may deceive, or at least protect information. A raven may change its caching behavior when another raven is watching. It may delay, move farther away, hide behind cover, return and recache. Guard food differently when another bird could have seen the hiding place. A cache is not only a piece of food in the ground, it is also a secret. And in a world of other clever birds, a secret has to be managed. Yet ravens are not only careful thieves and guarded planners. They play. They drop sticks. They slide on snow. They tumble in the air. They roll, dive, and sometimes fly upside down. They test objects, movement, gravity, and one another. They form pairs. 2 adult ravens may stay together through the year, defend a territory, preen each other, call softly, fly together, and return to nesting places when the season turns. Their intelligence is not only used against rivals, it also helps create a private world with another bird. This is what the raven leaves behind. Not fear, not only myth, not only the old feeling of an omen in a lonely place. Something quieter and more real. A living intelligence shaped by hunger, weather, memory, companionship, distance, and time. The blackbird is still dark against the sky. Its feathers may still flash blue, purple, or green when the light catches them. Its voice may still sound rough and ancient over a cold field. But the shadow has changed. It is no longer empty. Inside it is a map of hidden food. The memory of other ravens. The patience to wait. The skill to ride wind. The caution to guard what is known. The curiosity to play when no meal is waiting. The bond of a partner nearby. The echo of wolves crossing snow. So if you ever see a raven again, perched on a wire, standing beside a road, calling from a pine, or gliding above a ridge, it may feel different. Not because the raven has changed, but because more of it is visible now. A bird that remembers. A bird that plans. A bird that watches what others may know. A quiet black shape carrying a whole wild world inside it.